Alrighty, folks. Remember the Prime Minister of Finland last year? It was actually around this time, or no, it was in August. Well, but still around this time, who was caught despite the fact that she told the whole country, Finland, oh, you have to lock down, virus very bad. Nobody can go outside. You have to close your business. You cannot go to work. You must not go to the bar. Well, she herself went out to the nightclub because, she's a single young woman aged like 32, no business anywhere near any lever of power, let alone the leader of a country, no matter how small or insignificant. Anyway, Sanna Marin was videoed by her friends, who posted this online, without a care in the world, doing lines of coke, and I think probably making out with another woman, because this is just what single women seem to do at nightclubs. And there were two schools of thought. One was she should quit because this is ridiculous and embarrassing and hypocritical, and all of her lockdown shenanigans, and here she is, without a care in the world. And then the other school of thought said, actually, this is cool. We like that, that she's a ridiculous, slut, because that's who normal people are. Cocaine is cool. And this just shows that she's not a stuffy, stuck-up bitch. But I actually think it's the opposite. if you're a snotty, stuck-up bitch in public, and then behind the scenes you're doing lines and making out with other women, that actually makes you even worse because you're a poser. But I guess people wanted to give her credit for owning it, because she came right out and she owned up to it, kind of, after eventually trying to play it down, and then eventually, that's the stages of denial when you're a politician. Eventually, you just have to say, well, yeah, actually, that really did happen, and it's a good thing. She was saying how I'm young and virile, and I can't be held down. I'm a peacock. You have to let me fly. Well, thankfully, there were elections in Finland, and did I mention the fact that she was of the Social Democratic Party? So that is, like your equivalent of the Democrats over there, or the Labour Party. She was, of course, of the establishment left. Very pro-NATO, I'm sure. Anyway, she was voted out, and the right-wingers are now into government. Could be better. Obviously, Finland is still a joke of a country. But at least that clown's out of the way, right? Well, since she is old now and past her prime, she's into her mid-30s, she's only got a couple more eggs left. She is moving on from politics, or at least at some point she will, and there will need to be a new leader on the left in Finland. And many people have been looking to a fellow by the name of Antti Lindman, who is currently, I think, the chairman of the Social Democratic Party. Antti Lindman is, a white male of similar vintage, I think. I think he's in his early 30s. He's nice and progressive. And unfortunately for him, he posed for pictures at what appears to have been some sort of neo-Nazi gay orgy. These pictures have been on the internet for years, and he admits that he is one of the, which I don't know why he admits this, because they're all wearing face coverings, I assume to hide their identity, because most people are ashamed of participating in neo-Nazi gay orgies. But he's in a room with a bunch of other men. They are wearing ski masks, very, very friendly looking, of course. Naked men wearing ski masks, and some of them are holding toy guns, and apparently he claims that he's one of them. He's one of them holding the guns, and that you actually want to be the one in the picture holding the gun, because the guys who weren't holding the guns were, doing their Zig Heils. And so I guess he came out and admitted it to make it clear so that he could say, hey, sure, I'm in this picture, but I'm not the one doing the Zig Heil. No, that wasn't me. I was just posing with the gun, looking like I'm a super spy. And so this is the standard bearer, or the wannabe standard bearer for the left in Finland. I mean, don't you love it? The left is getting caught, zig-heiling. Now, Finland does have a bit of a history with the Nazis. They were on the same side as Germany in World War II for obvious reasons. I mean, Russia attacked them first, I believe. The Winter War started before Hitler's invasion of Poland, if I remember correctly. Wasn't it like 1937 or something? Russia wanted to reclaim Poland, and Finland did not, or I'm sorry, not Poland. Well, they did want to reclaim Poland, but they wanted to reclaim Finland, which was under the Tsar, a Grand Duchy of the Russian Empire. Helsinki, in many ways, is a little St. Petersburg. Well, the Finns did not want to be captured. They did not want to be defeated, and so, obviously, if you're having a world war, and the Ruskies are against you, you're going to be on the side of the Germans. They are wedged between, Germany and Russia. Not literally. I mean, Germany's not directly to their west. Sweden is to their west, but, the whole German power was to the west of them, Russian power to the east of them. And so I understand why the Finns were on that side of the conflict. And so I can imagine that within Finland, the Nazis are remembered differently than they are in other parts of Europe, because they were not going to... I don't know anything about the Holocaust in Finland. I'm not sure if Finnish Jews were ever deported, if that was a part of their terms of their alliance. But obviously it was an existential crisis for Finland. It was a question of, will we all be... I can see them making that choice, even if they had nothing against the Jews. If they're looking at it as, okay, we can either, try and stand by ourselves and get attacked by Germany and Russia, or we can try and align with the Germans and essentially sacrifice our Jewish population to protect the rest of us. That's not a decision I'd ever want to have to make, because I don't know how, I mean, there's no good option there. But anyway, in the year of our Lord 2023, I think most Finns probably understand, yeah, the Nazis were bad guys. And even if these photos are several years old, as we're being told they're over a decade old, let's say that these photos were taken in, 2010. Yeah, in 2010, I think you walk up to the average person in Finland, they probably know, hey, Nazis, bad guys, we don't want to be like them. So, what is the explanation for these photos? Was this just like some of the original Nazi meetings, was this just a neo-Nazi meeting that happened to degenerate into a gay orgy? I mean, that's not unheard of. It certainly happened with the early Nazi party. They were known for the parties that those Nazis could throw. But anyway, no, apparently, he says that this was a meeting of this high school film club, which is very disturbing, because it implies that these are high schoolers, so that they don't look like it, and these are pictures being published by tabloids, and apparently have been on the internet for a long time. He did not say that they are minors in the picture, and it certainly doesn't look like it. I mean, they got like beer bellies, so I don't think that, and full chests of hair, so I don't really buy his story. But he says that this was a meeting of the high school film club, and they did this Nazi gay photo shoot naked as a thank you to the backers of their short film, to the people who financed their short film. So it's like, wait, so Gabe, your good story that you're trying, your excuse, saying, no, this was not a neo-Nazi gay orgy. This was just an attempt by me and some of my friends when we were teenagers in high school to sell naked pictures of ourselves to finance the activities of our school club. Like, I don't know, maybe things are different in Finland. Maybe it's perfectly acceptable for teenage boys to exploit themselves, OnlyFans style. I mean, obviously that's become very normal here in America with teenage girls, as soon as they hit 18, Like, if they're 17 and a half, it's like, oh my gosh, it's disgusting. How could you ever even think sexually about her? And then as soon as the day she turns 18, hey, it's female empowerment, let me just strip my clothes off and here, $5 a minute, we'll record you whatever you want. So who knows? As crazy as America's gotten, maybe, in 2010 in Finland, hey, this is totally normal quid pro quo. You find some old man who likes teen boys, and you say, hey, we'll take naked pictures of ourselves. Zig Heiling, who knows? Maybe the guy who financed them was an old Nazi. He's like, hey, could you take your pants off and Zig Heil for me? I mean, that would be an explanation. But anyway, it's going to be pretty tough for this guy now, since he's up the left, to try and argue that you got to vote for me because these right-wingers, they're Nazis. You don't want the right-wing Nazis in power. You got to vote for me, the guy who's doing gay Nazi photo shoots. I mean, just what a clown country. I mean, I didn't want Finland in NATO. Still don't want Finland in NATO, but it's like they deserve NATO at this point. As stupid as Finland is. Used to be that Finland was officially neutral because, they didn't want Russia to attack them. They understood that, hey, this is probably a red line. We don't want to antagonize Russia too much and be a part of an alliance that is directly, at odds with Russia. We just want to, mind our own business, try and survive, maybe do some business with whoever, tend to our wheat fields, whatever it is that Finns do. And now they're just all Slava Ukraini. It's like, why is Finland suddenly trying to have a foreign policy? And, it's not like they have an interesting foreign policy. Their foreign policy is, let's just go along with whatever Brussels says. Very creative. So I guess we'll give them some time. I mean, I think best case scenario would be that Finland kind of goes in a Hungary direction. Hungary's a member of NATO. They're certainly aligned with the West. They don't want to be a part of Russia. But Hungary is definitely based. They want to preserve their civilization. They care about their own culture. And Finland historically did not want to be absorbed by the Soviet Union for the same reasons. And so I hope clowns like this neo-Nazi homo guy continue to lose power in this country, and that people like the Finns party, which is now in government, they're now the second largest party, right behind the traditional center-right party, but they are bigger than the Social Democrats. I hope that they continue to gain steam, and if they gain a few more seats, become the biggest party in Finland, hopefully they'll get a Finnish prime minister. Because I don't see anyone in any of these European countries coming out of these center-right parties who are going to take a leadership role like Orban. Sure, the right-wing party could push them, in certain directions, but they're never going to take leadership. They're never going to try and lead. They're just going to be pushed, and that's not a way to get anything done. Austria had a chance a few years ago to elect someone from the Freedom Party. That didn't end up working out, and Austria had a center-right leader who was trying to show some leadership. I didn't think he was great. I wasn't, I was not some big Kurz fan. But I could at least tell, hey, he was trying to make a name for himself. He was trying to have an impact on the country. Of course, they sent him packing. There's got to be some bright spots in Europe. I mean, gosh, especially since Poland is going down the drain, not just demographically, because, the younger generation is not as conservative as the older Poles who remember the Soviet Union, who are dying off. But unfortunately, Poland just might commit national suicide by starting World War III and getting themselves nuked first, so that maybe none of that even matters. Poland right now kind of reminds me of how Chile was maybe in like the 90s or 2000s. They've got a lot of kind of good momentum. The pendulum has swung in the right direction because of Cold War pressures. But in the case of Chile, we kind of saw things swing back. And although I should do an update on Chile, because there's been some interesting developments on conservatives there kind of stopping some of the surge of the left. So I think I'll stop myself there on Chile, maybe take another look at it, see how things are going in that country. I don't talk enough about specific individual countries outside of the U.S. as I used to, and I want to change that. So, with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.